What's up, y'all? This is Pigeon John over here with the shaved mustache, looking all fresh and fish. Banana Republic, homeboy. Representing. You are tuned in now to
Moon Garden Media
Podcast with my big homeboy,
Steve Bader.
Moon Man back there. Well done.
Let's share it for the Moon Man.
Thanks, Moon Man.
Whoa, it's the bomb, homeboy.
We'll do it live.
Dude, you all right?
Yeah.
You've been sick. I know you were sick.
Last week was a blur. I was sick, down. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I was brought back to life on Monday. Medication's wonderful.
The mother. We've talked about this, right?
The mother?
You have to, it's apple cider with the mother. Apple cider vinegar.
Right.
With the mother. Really Big Show turned me on to that. And
okay.
It's available at Acme and
okay.
all those places, Giant Eagle and everything.
What about Acme?
We'll talk about Acme in a bit, but whoa. What about Acme?
What about Acme?
It's a special week, isn't it?
It is.
It's meat week.
It's meat week.
What?
I love
it.
All right, so I need to share this.
Yeah.
Going live now.
Oh, yeah, I should probably do the same, right?
Who is this? I'm sharing it to mine, right? That's to me. Dude, college hoops, man.
Dude, they're in shambles. They better figure it out quick.
Oof. We're going to talk about that, I think, next week.
Next week.
Is it next week?
It is next week.
We're talking about beer next week, too.
Yeah, and coffee.
Beer and coffee.
Yeah.
It's like
I know a little bit about coffee, not so much about beer.
1 in the morning, 1 in the evening.
Exactly.
We'll discuss it.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
On different days, it's different times for those drinks. All right, hold on. I need to share this. So we're going Ashley, Weiss. We'll protect the names of the
innocent.
Ashley Weiss is on set tonight.
They are guilty until proven innocent.
Talk about.
That's pretty much how it is.
Hold on, I'm trying to focus here. I can't do two things at once.
Who said? I wasn't even talking to you. I was talking to.
But I hear you,
the folks.
But I hear you. but I hear you. That's what was on set tonight as we talk about the pet adoption scene in and around the 330. Blow who a kiss.
Wow.
What'd she do? I can't hear her. Oh, I love her. Yeah, Mrs. Roddy's fantastic. It's on set tonight as we talk about the pet adoption scene in and around the 330.
I don't know what to do.
Here we go.
It's very.
Here we go
with
special guest.
Happy Gilmore? ...
Gabe.
No? Okay.
Boom. Gabe.
Can we get Happy Gilmore?
I'm going to post that to my timeline. We'll let that build
or
for a
Shooter
sec.
McGavin. Yeah.
All right. This was successfully shared to me, also known as Hank. All right. So,
yeah.
Where are we? Casual talk. We just had casual talk.
We did.
So I could check that out.
You can check that off. We talked about.
We haven't done. We just had casual talk. I wrote it out. Casual talk.
Casual talk.
All right. It's time to do our. It says right here, stage direction. It says music intro.
Yeah, it does.
We have to. It says fist bump first.
Yep.
You ready?
Bump. Yep.
Here we go. Let's do a show.
We've got a great show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen. 3, oh. 3, oh. 3,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to 330 to Go. I'm your host, Hank Forrester, coming to you live from Stakeout Studios overlooking the rolling plains of Hardesty Park. In tonight's episode, we take a look at the animal adoption scene in and around the 330, focusing specifically on pet rescue and adoption options. Boy, that's a mouthful.
Good luck.
But adoption options. It's like conjunction junction. Hey, but before we do that, we're once again joined by the golden tones of rowdy, almost healthy Roddy Voorhees.
How you doing, Hank?
Living the dream, Roddy.
Just living the dream.
Just living the dream.
Tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, is brought to us by His and Hers Wedding and Party Service. As you know, bridal show season has passed. And now it's time for you to make your decision for your special day. Contact them today before your date is booked. There are still some dates available for the calendar year of 2018. It's all about the hers.
It's all about the hers. We just booked a Norwalk bride this week.
I heard that. Number 28?
Number 28.
Congrats.
So it'll be my 28th trip out to the Norwalk area for that group of brides. So they're always a lot of fun because there's such a small community, all those communities out there. So when they do a wedding, they invite literally the whole city.
Oh, there you go.
And they're all like in their 20s. So it's like a wedding palooza, right?
Yeah.
All right. So before we get into tonight's show on the adoption side, I want to first touch on the breeder side. Now, we wanted to mention this because
is this our disclosure?
This is our disclosure,
okay.
right?
Okay.
So we know that there are many responsible dog, cat, and other animal breeders in and around the 330. Purebreds are awesome. They're expensive. They're sought after. This show is not meant to deter you from that market in any way, but that will not be our focus tonight. I know several friends that we even go to church with.
You have friends?
Yeah. Based on the political climate, I may not for very long.
Oh, jeez.
But the point is that we do. What tonight's focus is going to be on the pet adoption scene, because if we could do a whole nother show on breeders in general,
we could.
But that's not tonight's show.
No,
okay?
it's not.
So first, before we begin with some of our talking points, we're going to get into let's first go over our history as animal or dog owners.
I have a dog right now at home. It is a Puggle, and his name is Toby. We've had Toby for, our daughter is 11, so we've had him for 10 and a half years.
Okay.
He was given to us as a gift.
Okay.
Somebody didn't want him anymore.
Okay.
And so we had to take him.
Did you just go into sad clown voice?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Sad
clown. And again, for those of us that are ignorant, what exactly is a Puggle?
A Puggle is, let's see, it's a beagle and a pug.
A beagle and a pug.
What?
Okay. All right. What did you own before the Puggle?
We had a dog before Toby. Oh, and
even Satan has a cold.
Hell has frozen over because Satan has a cold. We had Snickers, which was a mutt. I don't even know what breed he was.
Why did you name your dog after food?
We didn't. He was given to Mrs. Roddy. Oh, I disagree. Whatever.
Okay.
We'll agree to disagree.
I was saying Mrs. Roddy's here tonight, so you can't exactly.
I can't. Gotta be careful. The dog was a pain in the butt, and it bit our daughter when she was a toddler. So out the door he went.
Okay. Which that leads into our adoption topic, right? Because you had a dog that bit somebody. And
we did.
You kicked the dog out.
Well, no, we found him a loving home.
Okay.
Out on a farm somewhere,
okay,
where he could run and be free and bite whatever he wanted.
Be free.
He could.
Be free.
He could be free.
All right. So any other dog before that?
Nope. That's it.
All right. So
we've had some goldfish. But.
So when we when we first got married,
a church that shall remain nameless.
When me and Kate first got married, we lived on a farm, and it was out in Creston.
You lived in a farm?
We lived at a farm.
Okay.
And we were in like a studio.
Did you have cows?
There were horses.
You had
Beautiful
horses. Nice.
So they trained and rode horses, but they also bred. It was purebred golden labs, right?
Oh wow, that's cool.
So they bred golden labs, and during the process of the breeding, Sophie, right? Sophie snuck down the street, and Sophie found her buddy, and so
Sophie found a mate.
So then when they went and had the dogs, instead of coming out purebred labs, they were all like black and white, and they were just
red all over.
They were not purebred labs. The point is, we ended up with one of those, and it was a black dog with little white flecks on, and so we named her Micah, like after the material Micah. Okay?
That's cool.
And Micah was about a year or two old, right? And we had our first daughter, and with labs need a lot of love. Labs need a lot of attention. And and in the situation we were in, we had just had our first baby, so of course all our attention went to the baby.
Oh, wait,
I'm getting corrected.
Wait.
Kate, whose show is this?
We have a correction. She says hers. I love it.
What?
Micah ate the kitchen
Whoa.
floor, the linoleum, and she ate my bras,
Right. But
and your socks.
can I tell the story?
If you get it right.
What I was trying to say was, so what ended up happening was, we had the baby, so then all our attention kind of focuses on the baby, right? And that's when Micah started acting up, like Kate started saying
you're
she
getting
ate
a look,
things,
bro.
right?
You're getting
all right. So whatever.
Look.
This is my story. So point being,
It's my show. It's my story.
Kate, Micah ate one of. Micah ate one of.
Whoa.
She ate a sock, and it was one of those the socks, because my wife, when she does her laundry, she ties her socks, and she got the sock lodged down in her intestine, which is a common problem with labs and most dogs.
Right.
So we had to have surgery on her, and she ended up getting sepsis, and she died.
Oh,
so here we are. We got a newborn, and then I got this emotional.
Do we need to have a moment for Micah?
No. We're not. Okay. That was a long time ago. That was 14 years. So the point is, what ended up happening was do
you know how old your daughter is right now?
16.
Nothing.
What?
You lose. Good day, sir.
Wait. No, you didn't die. She didn't. I don't know.
Drama.
What is
drama in the forest house?
We're trying to do a serious show.
Oh man. We have fallen off the reservation.
It's a serious show tonight. Serious show. We're not.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Listen. So the point is, the dog passes away because Jillian was 6 months or a year old by that point, and she ended up eating a sock, and she got sepsis, and she ended up dying. So then we took Micah down. You guys are killing me.
Scott.
Listen, we
need to have a conversation here.
Guys,
about honesty.
we've got a lot to cover tonight. Okay,
honesty.
Let me finish the story.
Honesty.
So we end up going and taking Micah down. It's so emotional. We took Micah down and buried Micah down on our in-laws' farm with Splinter, who had recently passed away.
Splinter.
That was their dog.
Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Right, yes,
Splinter?
that's exactly
awesome.
why.
Okay.
Because he looked like a rat. And that's why I named Splinter.
Hey.
So then my point is, emotionally, so my wife's all broken. She just had this baby, so she's like postpartum and all this other stuff. So she's like, oh, we got to get another dog. So we decided to rescue 2 huskies. Husky chows. Okay.
Husky chows.
So we walk into this house and there's fleas everywhere. There's 8 of them, and we're like, oh my gosh, we have to take a dog home because it would be wrong of us to walk out of this house without a dog.
Okay.
So we took 2 home, and we took
not
2.
One,
we
but
took
2.
Not one, but 2, and we took 2 females. Okay.
It was okay.
2 females. All right. 2 female husky chows. Look, Ashley's over here shaking her head. She knows where this is going. And we named them Thelma and Louise because we thought it would be adorably
classic.
cute. And the problem is when you take them especially from the same litter like that, one of them has to have dominance. It's called litter. See, we're getting educated
Ashley's
right now.
Educating us.
It's called litter mate syndrome. Okay, the more you know. So the point is, Thelma was like
events.
Thelma was the dominant one. Louise was not, and they would fight all the time.
Real, though?
They would fight all the time, and it got to the point where then they would escape all the time, and they would go over the fence to the point where, I mean, we literally watched them climb right over the top of our 6-foot fence to the point where the warden knew me and Kate by name. He'd be like, "Hey, just letting you know that Thelma and Louise are with me again." He would call. I'd be like, "You got to be kidding me!" But I mean, point is, we knew we couldn't handle it. We were both working like 12 hours a day that time. We had adopted them emotionally, and we shouldn't have done it at the time. So we turned them into Cleveland APL, and only before we had vetted them for an adopting family that had farms and stuff. And they split them up at that point. And then now we got Hankster. So again, we go a few years with no dog.
Hankster.
And I walk in the house home from work one day, and the kids meet me at the door, and they go, "Dad, get ready. We're going to see Hankster and JoJo." I'm like, "Who the are Hankster and JoJo?" They're like, they're the dogs are one-of-a-kind pets, okay? And that's a lot of our show material is based off of what one-of-a-kind does.
Right,
so our family is the owner of a one-of-a-kind dog. His name's Hankster. He is a Rottweiler Shepherd, and at least that's what they tell us, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he's about 60 pounds, good-sized dog, nice to people. Wouldn't you say, honey? He likes people, but he hates other dogs for the most part. And he's a border repel dog. So I mean, we got a pretty decent sized backyard. We let him run around and the problem is if there's anything out front, he just loses it, right? So that's our dog now. That's Hankster. Okay, so that leads us into our discussion. Okay,
yeah,
and the question is, what leads to the pet adoption crisis? And we were asked to bring this show up a few months ago. We just, again, back then we were new in our development and we were just fun and we didn't want to tackle what we felt were tougher topics, but now we feel that we have the credibility to do so, or at least we make it up as we go.
Yep. Fake it till we make it, folks.
So in this scenario, what led to the adoption crisis? So there's and it was brought to my attention by one of a kind that a lot of animals are kind of Christmas gifts gone bad. Like they don't check with the owners.
Okay.
First of all, and this is not from adoption agencies, because adoption agencies, you have to go in and you have to, apply, and there's a vetting process there.
Okay.
This is from places like, Pet Supplies Plus, or you know what? I'm not going to name. I'm not going to name stores. So
yeah, don't do that.
Erase the store name, okay? But it would be like places where you go to buy dogs. What'd you say? Puppy mills, Craigslist. Whatever. So point is, you go and you buy a dog, and you go to Christmas and you say, "Here, Aunt Lois, here's a puppy," and they go, "Oh, yay, okay." And then they're a month or two in, and the dog's eating all their slippers and everything, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't want a dog."
Right.
So what their natural instinct is to do is they go and they just drop it off at the pound. They're like, "Well, this didn't work out. They'll try and sell it or whatever, and if they don't, then they just take the dog to the pound." Okay. So once that happens, and it also happens, of course, that some of them will just do a side dump. There are folks out there that will just let a dog go out in the wild on the side of the road.
That's how we got Snickers.
And then so they ended up going with the warden, and the warden picks up the dog. So there's different ways that these dogs end up in the pound. Okay, but once that happens, at that point, Summit County Animal Control then takes over.
Yep.
Okay. Now, are you familiar with the procedure once an animal arrives, once it's turned in?
No, but I think that you know it. You're going to enlighten me, because I don't, and I'd like to know.
So, and we'll let Ashley talk about this in a little bit, because she knows a lot more about it. But it's my understanding that when a dog is turned in to the pound, they're then put into what's called like a 72-hour waiting period. All right. So they're what?
If they're a stray.
If they're picked up as a stray, they have a 72-hour waiting period. Okay. Mm-hmm. Once that's and during that time, if they bite somebody, they're automatically considered to be. If there's any incident, they're put on timeout, and then they're put on the 10-day waiting list or whatever, and then they're ended up being euthanized because they're considered to be a risk. All right.
Okay.
But the point is, after that 72-hour waiting period, at that point, anybody with a photo ID can walk into the pound, and this is where you go to. You can adopt from the pound, and you pay $94. And you get that animal. You get the dog. All right.
Okay.
But it's my understanding there's not been any medical thing done to them. They're just there. They're spayed or neutered at the pound. Okay. Okay. It's included in the fee. Dewormed. So they get basic medical care. Okay. Okay. And you could talk about all that. But the point is, they're given the bare bone basics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, then the person owns the dog. All right. Now it's different when you get a microchip. You got microchips in a lot of dogs, like Hankster. Right. Hankster has a microchip. So in that case, when it shows up at the pound, they will be able to scan his microchip, right?
Yes.
They notify the owner. Okay.
So make sure your microchip information is always up.
So always make sure your microchip info. How do we even go about doing that? You can tell us that in a little bit.
Yeah, let's
microchip updating information. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So. So here's this one really took me by surprise. Holmes County leads the country in puppy mill farms.
Really?
There are, and I had to investigate it. Right?
What are some cities in Holmes County?
There are over 400.
That is.
There are over 400 puppy mill farms in the Holmes County area. Okay, and the reason being is because there's so much area, and they have an opportunity to let the dogs run around and stuff.
Right.
So they just breed, and they just farm out dogs. Okay, they're the number one issue area in the country for dogs that are turned in illegally and all this other stuff.
Okay.
I did not know that, and I'm not
either.
saying that the Amish are bad folks for doing it, but the point is,
I think you just did.
no.
I honestly think you just
Tonight's show is starting off so well right now. The point is, they're trying to make a living, right?
But the Amish don't have electricity, so they're not watching us, right?
What?
Whatever. All right. So the point is, this is where places like One of a Kind Pets comes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So One of a Kind Pets, I had a chance to speak with Janice and Libby over there, and they really gave me quite a bit of information in regards to the process. So there's a process that these places go through. Now, folks, if you're watching right now, first of all, go ahead and share. Secondly,
Share.
if you have adopted an animal from anywhere, just go ahead and write it down in the comments right now so that people can see.
Let's see it.
I will list those for you later on. I'll list those for you later on. But we had talked about that before. I put a post up about when I first got the idea to do the show about 2 months ago, and people were listing a lot of places. So we're going to highlight One of a Kind simply because that's where we got my dog, and it's literally right around the corner.
We could throw a rock from here and hit it.
I'd say driver 3-wood pitching wedge.
Driver 3. Okay.
Yeah, about that. All right.
A
So the point is,
5-wood?
they're on the other side of Acme from us. All right.
I'll use my 5-wood.
Whatever, dude. Point being, you know what? Let's give away an Acme gift card.
You know, we have not done that for
We haven't done it in a couple weeks.
It's time.
And I'm gonna favor the people that have been watching the show. I'm gonna favor the people that have been watching the show. You guys ready?
Wait, hold on. Quick question.
Yeah.
The one family that won our very first
They're now eligible.
gift card.
They're now eligible again.
Their suspension period has been lifted.
They're off probation.
They're
they can
off
now win
probation.
again.
You know who you are.
So here we go. Kate's manning the phone right now. Here's the phone number. Text in the answer. You cannot write it on this comment.
First person to text.
First
No family.
First person to
No
text. And you
family.
can't be family either. Can't be family. Here's the question.
The question is,
what is our current dog's name? What is our current dog's name? When I told you the lineage of dogs that we've had, I gave you the list.
The Forester
What is our current dog's
dog.
name? Okay, so text that in, and you will win. Be the first to text.
So
in.
if I text in dog, I would be wrong.
That would be incorrect. All right, so here we go. One of a hairball.
Maybe
One of a kind. It's all this beard.
Hairball.
One of a kind pets. That's where we got our dog, right? And so here's the process that they have to go through when they go down to the pound. So One of a Kind gets contacted when there's a number of dogs that are on their version of death row, and that's where they've gone through the process. They haven't been adopted, and they're getting ready to euthanize the dogs, and they'll call. What did I say?
Whoa! We missed something.
All right, they'll call.
Something.
They'll call these adoption places like One of a Kind. They'll say, "Hey, we got some dogs. Come on down." All right.
No.
Hold on. This is One of a Kind's version. Okay. So then
we already have a.
This is the words of One of a Kind.
This is going to get good here.
So then what'll happen is they'll go down and they'll say, okay, well, we've got 10 dogs. There's 10 dogs available, but we've only got 5 kennel slots. So at that point, they'll literally go down to the pound and they'll look at the dogs and they'll only be able to take so many.
Right.
So they can, like, let's say there's 10 and they can only take 5. They'll take the 5. And then unfortunately the other 5 get, what is the skeleton out there? The other 5 end up getting, okay.
Don't scare me like that. Are you kidding me?
There's just this week alone, One of a Kind had 50 pet adoptions over the weekend.
That's fantastic.
And she said that weekends are the busiest time of year, especially right now,
yes.
as they're coming out of winter. Like I said, there's a lot more animals available right now because of Christmas.
Yeah.
She said that dogs range in their price. This is One of a Kind we're talking about, folks. You can get a dog for anywhere between $150 to $450, depending on what kind and all the bells and whistles that they've had done. And cats are $60 to $120. That's their price ranges. She said that the reason the costs are so expensive. What, do we have a winner?
No, we have a cheater.
No, we have a cheater.
The reason that the dogs are hold on. You get a half hour. You get a half hour.
Cheater is in studio.
She cheated. Yeah,
she wanted the Acme gift
ineligible.
card. Nope.
So the point is that the costs are so expensive because a lot of these animals need medical attention.
Yes, they do.
So they immediately will reinvest into them to get them ready for adoption.
Right.
So their goal is to make a lot of what I got talking to Ashley and a lot of these other places is their goal is to make Summit County a no-kill zone.
Okay.
So to try and make sure that all these animals are adopted regularly throughout, to avoid having to euthanize animals. Okay. She's nodding her head, so at least I got agreement.
You got an agreement. Yes.
And then the other thing is, again, we said if you have an adopted pet, please list in the comments where you got it
seen
from.
a couple. I've seen Summit County Animal Control, Stark County Dog Pound.
The other thing about one of a kind in places like that is they have additional resources at their disposal, in not just the place where you go get the animal, but they've also got clinics that take care of different hospital needs and all that sort of thing. And they also have foster home resources and like a network of volunteers and foster homes that are incorporated into their network.
Okay.
And that was all part of that discussion. Okay.
Right.
So, and then
yeah, I laughed when I saw that in your notes. I
our last line of episode 1.
Yeah, let's be Bob Barker.
You remember Bob Barker?
I did. With the Price is Right, he would end the show. Remember, folks, have your pets spayed or neutered.
That's right. And you remember the microphone he had?
Yeah, he had that big
tall little one with the little ball in the end. We got to get those. We
need to get the big microphone.
Right.
That would be great.
So at this point, once again, folks, we've been building up to the show. Jason
just
again. I'll repeat the. We got
no winner yet.
I'll say the question one more time.
I'll take the gift card
for the
because it's Meat Week.
Acme gift card during Meat Week. What is the name of our current dog? The full name, the original name of our current dog. That's to win the Acme gift card.
Full
this week.
Name
okay?
of the.
No, just the full name is right because we call him blank, but he's blank blank. It's 2 syllables.
Well, 2 syllables instead of 1.
Because he was named blank blank, and we call him blank. Okay.
Blank.
I'll give a hint later if they don't get it.
No,
Is it 1 word or 2? Is that a hint for later?
No, it's 1 word.
One word.
Okay.
It's all 1 word. 2
all right,
syllables.
so here we go, folks. Our special guest tonight. You want me to interview her?
Yes, absolutely. I've been sick, so I can take a little break and continue to get well.
Okay, so right now we're gonna. Say farewell to Roddy for the time being, everybody.
Good night, Shirley.
No, don't do that yet.
Sorry.
This show's not over.
Oh.
All right. So here we go,
My
folks.
bad.
We're bringing out our special guest. Her name's Ashley Weiss, and she's very passionate about all of these adoption crises and rescues that are going on in and around the 330. So we're gonna bring her on live. And where's the pooch? Huh? Well, where is he?
Union break.
Where, no, what's he doing though?
I laid him down in the car.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So, union break for Gabe. Well, come on in. Come on in.
Come in at the end.
Come on in. All right, you got.
Right.
Put those guys on.
Yep.
And then go ahead and scoot up so that you're near the microphone area up there. There you go. All right. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Well, no, we'll keep it here. I'll put it in low. All right. So anyway, so Ashley, Akron, Ashley.
Hi.
Canton, Worcester, Macedonia, Barberton,
Summit County.
Talmadge, Summit County. Well, we got a pretty big reach. There's some Cleveland folks watching.
Hi.
There's even some folks watching right now down in Dayton. Okay. So, all right, here we go. Act 2 with Ashley. So right now, first I want to talk about Ashley herself and her husband, Ryan. I am wearing one of Ryan's shirts. You can see this is
Right
an
there.
Akron shirt, which is made by a Rock Everywhere Apparel. You'll see the truck going to different festivals in and around town. That goes up to Cleveland quite frequently. Ryan specializes in custom T-shirts and other apparel that he designs that are vintage to the Akron area and 330, and we love it, right? So how I met Ashley and Ryan was Ashley was my banker at Chase. Was it Chase or First Merit? Was it First Merit or Chase?
It was at Chase Bank.
Okay.
And I was sitting at my desk all by myself. And we had a customer right here come into the office and was talking about services that he provided. And I was eavesdropping on the conversation because I needed a wedding DJ. And he was a wedding DJ. And so I butted into the conversation I butted in and I solicited his services in the lobby of Chase Bank.
Yeah. So then we ended up doing this wedding, right? So, Ryan's like, okay, they're both a little different. I'll say it that way.
A little different.
I'm just gonna say it that way. And as we're approaching the wedding, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna do like a horror movie theme. It's a Halloween themed wedding. We're gonna have a graveyard that people walk into. Guys, I got to tell you, I've done 955 weddings. Okay, this was by far the most unique wedding I've ever done, and more than likely most ever will. There was an angel of death that was about 8 feet wide, with her wings stretched out up on the bar.
Yeah.
They had gargoyles in the corners. They had 6-foot tarantulas up on the ceiling, and they had a full fogged up.
We had a graveyard.
That guests walked
forest.
into when they walked in. It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Yes.
And then there were jars, and there were heads in jars, and there was. They had the video. The way you found your seat was you would find a horror movie video, okay,
Yes.
and it would be like, okay, well, I'm sitting at Nightmare on Elm Street, so you have to walk around looking for Nightmare on Elm Street. It was fantastic, and then the bridal cake, their cake had a zombie bride dragging a zombie groom that was falling apart with like blood running down the side of the
It was a bloody wedding cake. I got it from Acme Catering. I had to talk to the old woman who ran the bakery, the catering department, for 30 minutes to convince her to make my wedding cake bloody.
Yes. So point being, we've got history. And then when I did own a fence company, we built a fence for you too. For the backyard.
You contained my backyard so that all of my dogs were safe.
Which I found there's more than one.
There is more than one.
I told this story. Oh, karma. All right. So here we go. So the first question is, how did you get into this passion that you're in right now? How did this all start?
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
It's kind of long.
I'm going to be quiet because
Okay.
I get to rest now, and I'll just sit here and hang out.
Okay. So that's okay because he needs to interrupt me because I talk too much and I get off track. So I have loved dogs my whole life. I grew up in a family of dog lovers, and at the age of 11, I got my first dog, and I never looked back. About 11 and a half years ago, my boyfriend called me from Columbus and said, I'm buying a dog from a pet store, and I about hit the floor. I said,
your boyfriend,
who is now my husband.
who's now your husband.
Sorry.
No,
Yes.
that's okay. That's why I'm here, just to add the little. I just add the little things. That's it.
That's right. So he called me and he said, I'm buying this dog. And I said, no, you're not. We don't live together. You work full time. This is not a good idea. And those kinds of dogs come from puppy mills, even though I really didn't know what a puppy mill was. I just knew it was bad. He persisted, and he came home later that day with a 3-month-old purebred English bull terrier. Her name's Karma, and she's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Okay.
So if, for those of you that aren't familiar, bull terrier is like the target dog, or the RCA dog, or Spuds MacKenzie, whatever your generation is. They're beautiful, but we had no idea what we were getting into. We did every single thing that I advocate against. We did not research the breed that we were bringing home. We did not have any idea what she needed from us. She came to us very sick. So right off the bat, after paying her adoption fee, which was actually to purchase her from a pet store, which was several $1,000s. I can't even, it was more than my first car.
I'm sorry, what?
She cost more than my first car.
Okay. Well, and I had mentioned earlier with breeders, right, that they're expensive and it's for a reason, right? But you go, I'll be quiet.
Yes. Yeah, we'll touch on that. So anyways, we brought home this dog who cost more than my first car. Immediately, she cost us another $1,100 in vet care because she was so sick. So here we have a dog that we don't know anything about. She's sick, and we're kids. You know? So we took on this huge responsibility. And after we brought her home, I realized that my life has changed, and I need to change what I do and who I am to make sure that my dog lives the very best life. Not everybody does that. So I started, yay me. So I started researching. I started making connections with local veterinarians. I started reaching out to dog trainers and behaviorists. I partnered with Dr. Jim Aikenhead from Signature Canine and Alliance. Unfortunately, they are no longer in business because he retired and moved. So anyways, all of this started because of a bully breed dog that was purchased from a pet store. I spent my whole life reading about her, learning about her, connecting with other people who had a bull terrier or bully breed dogs to see how I could make her live healthy and happy because she was medically and behaviorally challenged. She was literally the poster child for dogs who are dumped. She didn't like new people. She didn't like other dogs. She didn't like cats, and she really didn't like children. So we got ourselves into a situation that a lot of people would just turn their backs and give up. So fast forward to several years ago, I found myself in a place where I was happy with where I was. I had a great career. I had a loving husband. We had a beautiful home. And I had a dog who loved me, but I had no sense of purpose. So the only thing that I could think of that I enjoyed, that I felt like I could make a difference, was to volunteer my time, my knowledge, and everything that I had spent the last, 7 or 8 years learning about. So I became a dedicated volunteer at Summit County Animal Control.
Where's that located?
That is located at 250 Opportunity Parkway, which is here in Akron. It's right by the food bank. If you're familiar with where the Akron Canton Food Bank is, that's about all I can tell you. Look it up online.
Okay. What? Where?
It's right by where you work?
Where at?
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So I started volunteering at the pound. I met a lot of great people. I formed friendships with like-minded individuals who were really, really in it for the same reasons I was, to educate the public on bully breeds, to talk about the importance of spaying and neutering, to talk about the importance of microchipping, and to advocate for the rescue of the animals who are suffering, thank you for my water, in these animal control facilities. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm going to put it out there. Summit County Animal Control is not a no-kill shelter. They are an open intake facility who will euthanize animals. They euthanize cats and dogs for several reasons. So please make sure you educate yourself before blindly supporting a facility without knowing what actually goes on. So anyways, I became very dedicated to the dogs that were in this rescue. There were cats there too, and we have a wonderful group. We had a wonderful group of volunteers who took care of them, but I focused on the dogs. So that's what kind of brought me to where I am now. I am what I consider a rescue advocate. I advocate for we want to work towards a no-kill community. I want to see the bully breeds, the pit bull and pit bull type dogs that are in our local animal control and pound environments. I want to see their lives saved. I want to educate people before they choose to adopt a pit bull or pit bull type dog. And really, I just want to see the killing stop. So I have aligned myself with several local nonprofit animal rescues. I don't do a ton for One of a Kind, but I attend all of their fundraisers, and I have a really good time with that. And we have a great relationship with their spay and neuter clinic. Gabriel, who's here with me today, but he's taking a break. All of his vetting was completed when I pulled him from Summit County Animal Control. All of his vetting was completed at the One of a Kind spay and neuter clinic. They offer low cost spay and neutering and vetting. So if you are struggling to find the money to provide proper vet care for your animal, please reach out to One of a Kind Pets. Sometimes they also offer no cost vetting depending on what your situation is. So never let your animal go without. There are people out there to help you. Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
No, it's fine. I'm going to move this for now.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us Gabe's story?
Okay, before I start Gabe's story, I want you to understand how Summit County Animal Control works. So, and I'm not going to get too involved, but Summit County Animal Control is there to control the animal population. They are there, they serve a purpose. So when a stray animal comes in, specifically a stray dog, like we were talking about earlier, they have a 72-hour hold period. If they're even lucky enough to make it onto the floor, if they aren't medically unadoptable or behaviorally unadoptable. So on any given day, a number of Sorry, I got distracted. A number of animals come through those doors, and then they sit in kennels. They are in kennels 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they are only let out by the staff early in the morning, and they are lucky if they get one potty break from the volunteers that go in there. So you have a ton of animals sitting in kennels rotting. They're just sitting there waiting.
Well, how long is that period, though? I mean, I've heard different reports now. So once they're past that 72-hour period,
yes.
How long are they kept?
As long as they are, okay, it's different for every animal. So if you are, by nature, a good dog, and you are a balanced dog, and you have been trained properly, you've been socialized properly, and you are just overall a good boy or a good girl, you can stay in there for a while. The majority of the animals...
Sounds like my life.
Right. The majority of the animals that end up in these facilities are not behaviorally sound. They are not trained. They are not vetted. They are not healthy. They end up there for a reason. And so it's different for every animal. When I was a dedicated volunteer there, the longest dog that we had was almost 7 months.
Oh my gosh.
She lived 7 months of her life. She rotted away to about 40 pounds. And right now she's in a loving home with one of my very good friends. Hi, Nick. Her name was Juno. And she literally sat in that kennel and wasted away to nothing. She didn't show well. She had cropped ears.
Nick's got this dog?
Not Nick Roth, a different Nick.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay.
So she sat there and she didn't show well. She was what they call barrier frustrated. So she had frustrations because she saw all these people coming in and out every single day, but she couldn't touch them. And dogs are physical creatures and they want to touch their people. So she sat there and waited and waited and waited. And then finally she was saved by a rescue that I was affiliated with and people that I knew in the wintertime. And she went to foster care for a very long time, and she was finally adopted over the summer.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right, so before we get into Gabe's story,
yes,
we've got an Acme card winner. All right, so here we go, folks. The winner of this Acme gift card during Meat Week, and I'll have to figure out how to get this to her because we don't go to the same church anymore. She's at a different campus, is Erica Twitchell. Erica is our winner. We'll try and get this to you during Meat Week. So there's our winner. My dog's name, his full name is Hankster. His full name is Hankster. I said that earlier in the show.
I was wrong.
We call him Hank for short. Gee, there's a lot of Hanks around here. Lots of Hanks around here. It's like, remember Indiana and Indy, about Indiana Jones, about how he's supposedly named after the dog, right? No, that's me. There's Hanks all over the place. All right, so here we go. Let's hear Gabe's story.
Okay, so Gabriel is a survivor. He's with us here, but he's taking a nap because he's a little overwhelmed, he's a little stressed, and he's a little embarrassed to hear his mommy talk about him live in front of all of you people. So Gabriel found himself as a stray dog dumped in and around the city of Akron, and he was picked up by one of our dog wardens, and he was subsequently taken to Summit County Animal Control. I have a couple pictures. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see them, but this is the best way I can show you.
I'll do that. You keep talking.
Yeah. So this is the best way I can show you the condition that he was in when he showed up as a stray dog. Okay, do you see him there?
Oh, yeah.
Severely emaciated. And you'll be able to see in the next couple of photos that he was covered all over his face, neck, the front of his legs, and his hind legs. He was covered in bite wounds. He had duct tape residue around his muzzle, and he had what we think are cigarette burns all over the back of his hips. So there you can see my beautiful Gabriel. And I don't know if you can tell because I printed out these pictures and they're really bad. His name, the name that he was given upon intake was Freddy, as in Freddy Krueger.
Is this gotcha day right here?
This is the first day that I met Gabe. That's the first interaction I had with a dog who has been through so much in his short life. He's about 3 to 5 years old. You can see right there that from that very moment, he was never going to leave me. So Freddy Krueger. Now, let me just touch on that really quick. The name and the photos. The very first photo that you see of a dog is the first impression that you are going to get, especially from an animal control facility if you're lucky enough to have somebody take their photograph. You just saw those photos. Does that look like an inviting dog?
It wouldn't like rush right out, right?
Absolutely not, because he's filthy. His name was Freddy Krueger. I cannot stress enough how important first impressions are, and for the staff at Summit County Animal Control to think that it's funny that a dog came in covered in burns and wounds, and then subsequently name them Freddy Krueger, I can't imagine. So that same day, Freddy was pulled by a nonprofit animal rescue to ensure that he would not lose his life. Sitting in the pound. We knew that he was definitely going to have some issues. He was very fearful. And I have some information here, and I'm going to look at it. So it's a statistic, and I just want you to take this in. So Gabriel, on the day that we saved his life, he became a survivor of Summit County Animal Control. He's one of the lucky ones, because he's alive. He did not end up a statistic. And this is really hard to say out loud, and especially for people who have no idea what goes on. In our country, in the United States of America, every single year, we kill 1.2 million dogs. Of the 1.2 million dogs that we kill every year in our shelter environment, 40% of those are pit bull and pit bull type dogs. So almost half of the dogs that we kill are dogs like Gabriel. So he made it out that day. He went into foster care, and he had a wonderful foster home. That was September of 2016. In October of 2016, he was adopted by a couple. And I want to let you know that he was adopted through a rescue that I do adoption coordination with. So what that means is I give you an application to fill out, and I make you tell me all about yourself, all about your home, about your job. I literally interrogate you to make sure that I am placing my dog with the very best family that he can go to. I have lengthy conversations with adopters, and I tell them exactly what a dog is going to need, and I have people look me in the face every single day and say, we're ready, we're committed to this dog. In December of 2016, Gabriel was returned to the rescue because every single piece of advice that I gave to our adopters was not taken. Every offer of free training for issues that he had, he's very fearful because of the life that he lived before he was saved. He was a bait dog. If you aren't familiar with what the term bait dog is, it is a dog who is used as a punching bag for other dogs to beat up. His mouth is taped shut so that he has no ability to fight back, and he is used and abused, and that is what a bait dog is. It's just my speculation. I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's a fact, but just from the wounds and the way that he acts and the issues that he has with other dogs and the fearfulness that he shows around them, that's what we think he is. So a couple who was so ready to have a dog and promised to do everything that they possibly could had him for 2 months and gave him back because they just couldn't do it. So I had another foster dog at the time, and I couldn't bring Gabriel home. I had to wait. So from December 2016 until February of 2017, Gabriel was in temporary boarding, and a dog in boarding, they just don't excel. They need to be active, etc. So finally, on February 25th of 2017, Gabriel came to my home. He was the most depressed, shut down, and emotionally scarred dog I had ever met. He couldn't relax. He couldn't sit down. He growled at me. He growled at my husband. He was terrified of my dogs. He didn't know how to dog. He didn't know how to live. He wasn't potty trained. He really was failed over and over and over by humans. So we did everything that we could to give Gabriel a good life, to teach him that humans are great, he blossomed. He finally started to trust us with training, socialization, and proper medical care, proper vetting, and a proper diet. He turned into a beautiful dog. You want to see what he looks like now?
Sure.
This is my Gabe now. And Ryan took those pictures. He has a business. It's called Map This Moment Photography.
Free plug. Free plug.
So that's Gabriel now. You can see that his scars have healed over. He is one of the most beautiful dogs I've ever seen in my entire life. And as of this Sunday, I officially adopted Gabriel because he spent over a year in rescue. Yay! He's mine. So one of the philosophies that I live by as a foster parent, which if you aren't sure, it's the same with children. You foster a dog, a cat, a bunny, whatever companion animal out there, you give them a place to stay until they find their forever home. So my philosophy is if I cannot find a home that is better than the one that I am providing, that dog will not leave my care.
Question.
Yes.
Good story. Okay. First of all, take a break. Take a drink.
I know I talk a lot. Sorry.
Take some water.
I tried to pack it.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. Take some water. Okay. But I got a question from the audience out here, our viewer audience. They said, is it possible that they named him that because he may have been taken in around Halloween at like October time or anything like that?
Yes, he was taken in around Halloween. However, again, when you are in the market for a dog,
first impressions count.
First impressions count. First impressions count. So,
so here you are. You're looking at a dog. He's all cut up, and he's named Freddie. Right.
Yes.
I get it. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So let's use my example. One of my
let's hear it.
So Hankster and JoJo, right?
Yeah.
Hankster looks like a pit bull, and he was taken out of Ashtabula. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if he's in the, well, we can bring him up. You don't want to release the Kraken? All right. So Hankster looks like a pit, right? And then JoJo was a chocolate lab. My memory's different.
He was a lab.
He was a lab. Okay. The point is, we had. Where you want to go? You want up or down?
Oh no, I was just
seeing who's there.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So the point is that I walk into this room, right, and there's Hankster, there's JoJo, and I'm thinking, if I got to walk out of here with a damn dog, I'm gonna get a lab because I was pretty much told we're leaving with a dog. It's like
you have no choice.
I didn't have a choice. I got my kids with me. I'm walking into this room and there's Hankster and JoJo.
Yeah.
So what happens? JoJo's running amok and trying to get out the door and Hank comes right over to the baby and lays. It was Wyatt, wasn't it? Sits down next to him and puts his head right next to Wyatt and starts like nuzzling up against the baby. And I'm going, you've got to be freaking kidding me. I'm like, it had to be the pit bull looking dog. I'm like, is this really happening?
It's always the pit bull.
I go, is this
they are
really?
The snuggliest.
I said, and the thing is, I don't know. I trust them, but they call him a Rottweiler Shepherd. And when you look at him, he does have a look of Rottweiler to him.
Yes.
But you'd be able to tell because you're a pit expert. But he's got the grundle about him too.
Yeah.
And he's out of Ashtabula.
And really, I mean,
I know it doesn't matter, but it
doesn't.
I know.
But they have the look and they are stigmatized. You can say that's a pit, that's a pit, that's a pit. If a dog is, and I have the perfect example, if a dog is a Cocker Spaniel Pit Bull mix, it is a pit bull. And there's no bones about it. I fostered a Cocker Spaniel Pit Bull mix. I DNA tested him. He is part Cocker Spaniel and the other part Staffordshire Terrier. And he is a pit bull because if I try to market him as a Cocker Spaniel, people would look at me like I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So the point is, we ended up getting Hankster. And like I said, he's been a good dog for the most part. Did he come with that name? He came with Hankster, and then we kept him Hankster.
And that's okay. And that's a fun name. It kind of draws you in.
We call him Hank.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of Hanks. There's a lot of Henrys in this family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, the point is that, like you said, first impressions matter. And to me, the physical looks of the dog were drawing me to JoJo, but the behavior of the dog, which we were more impressed with, had us get Hankster.
And that is an educated statement. Can you say that one more time?
Okay. Now I'm being put on
the
dog.
The look of the dog.
The look of the dog favored JoJo.
Correct.
The behavior of the dog, especially considering the fact that we had a newborn, favored. He's
anything under 5 is a baby.
He's babyish. Okay. Hank. Yeah.
Yes. So that's we'll get into that.
We are. The show's not over. The show's we're just getting started. She's on page 2.
If we bring,
Go ahead.
Bring him in.
Yeah.
We can turn this monitor off.
If
Would that be less scary for him?
Yes, he can't. Yeah, so trying to squeeze him in back here, dogs don't like to be encroached on like that. He would feel that he was backed into a corner. So if we bring him in the front and he gives the kids kisses and everybody sees that my pound dog is the best.
What you could do is use our technology and just do your video with your phone and tag it to all this stuff, right?
Yeah, you just tell me.
In fact, we can do that after the show. We don't have to do it right now.
Yeah.
He's snapping. So, all right.
Yeah,
So,
he's good.
So what can we do to help? Well, first, that's a loaded question. Wait, what did I skip? Oh, tell us about the epidemic in Ohio. See, that's why Roddy's here, because Roddy usually keeps me right.
He keeps you going.
No, we could go longer than that. We'll go over today.
We'll go over because this shit's important.
There you go. Yeah, sir. Hey, you can't say that on the radio.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Wait. Leave it to my zombie bride to be the first ever to swear on no, because I said damn and we said hell before.
Those don't count.
What? Chris? Oh, Chris was the first? Yeah, well, no, that's not one of the big 7. She did one of the big 7. We'd have to oh yeah, they are. The FCC ranks them. So there we go.
There's a comment that I'd like to address.
Which one? From Jason?
From Jason. Hi, Jason. Thank you for watching.
He said, I've always been afraid of going to animal rescues because you don't know their history and you're bringing them into your home with your children. Go.
I agree with you, Jason, and I want to hopefully give you some insight so that you can have more of an educated approach to this. I do think that for every single person, they need to understand who they are, who their family is, and what their lifestyle is like. If you can get a grasp on that and you speak to a reputable, respectable rescue who really tries to get to know their animals, they can help fit you with the correct dog for your family. So I know we're specifically talking about pit bulls, and I'm going to put my opinion out there. And everybody's going to lose it. I do not like placing dogs in homes when they are bigger than the children in the home.
Woo! Give me some! All right. So
there are exceptions always, but my rule of thumb is know your family, know your lifestyle, and know what you're looking for, and speak to professionals, people who do this day in and day out, and they can help you. Even though we don't know the history of a dog, let me give you an example. My 11-year-old bull terrier will rip your kid's throat out. She will kill another dog. She will kill a cat, and she doesn't like adult strangers. I have had her since she was 3 months old. I socialized her. I took her to training classes. She's properly vetted. That is just who she is. I'm about to bring in a 3 to 5-year-old dog who was used as a fight dog. He's a pit bull, and I'm going to walk him into a house full of children because I know him. I've worked with trainers with him. He's properly vetted. I know who he is, and I am responsible for my dog. I'm not going to put my dog in a situation that's going to set him up for failure. So if you can get with the right people, I think it's okay to adopt a dog or to at least talk about it.
All right, so basically what that means is if you got little kids, don't adopt a 110-pound dog.
That is not exactly what I meant. It's just
that's what I heard.
It's just my rule of thumb and what I feel comfortable doing.
That's what I heard. All right. So, well, let me touch on something that Nova's bringing up out there. Nova.
Hi, Nova. You're my BFF.
Okay, so we do know Nova. Nova's friend of the show. Okay, congratulations. Yeah. All right, Nova. I thank you, Nova, for bringing up the name thing. I want to get off that though. Okay, so. We get it. So it's been brought up now. The point is, who's naming these animals? I don't know. But the point, I'm assuming that obviously it's just a temporary name. But thank you guys for bringing that up. Okay. Now I want to ask you.
Yes.
I'll bring up. We're getting off script here for just a second.
That's okay. I like that.
So you were the first person I called when Hank first of all, my mom's watching, so say hi to Shirley. Every show we say
Hi, Shirley.
every show we say
thank you for birthing this dude.
Okay.
He played songs with cuss words at my wedding.
Oh, but I was and again, you can ask Kate. Okay, that's the first and only time I've ever played that song at a wedding, and I was so embarrassed. Well,
Which one?
There's been 3 times where I was embarrassed. The Dan Band eclipse.
The Dan Band.
The total eclipse. Sorry.
Effing every now and then.
Yeah. So the point is that one I was that and the P control at Tangiers.
I had to force your hand.
Yes. So anyway, the point is, you were the first person I called. So Shirley's listening right now. You know, when Sierra,
does everybody know this story?
I'm telling it. We figured out that Hank had jumped on and landed accidentally on the bird bath. So he had hurt like underneath his pelvis area in the back, under like in a very sensitive area, right in the back underneath where your leg is.
Yes.
Okay. So the girls were coming over for game day, and Jillian's friends will come stay the night, and then we'll go all together in the morning and work as a team. So they extended that because we get up at 6:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So the girls show up at the door, and Hank's natural reaction is to run and jump and lick on them and everything. So, but the point is, he loves to escape. He loves to run around the neighborhood. So Sierra grabbed him.
I don't like that.
Sierra grabbed him by the hips.
Yeah.
And pulled him back to hold him.
Yes.
And he immediately yelped in pain and reached back, and her face, because she was down low, happened to be right there. And he caught her. He caught her on the lip, and it went in and out of both sides, and she ended up with 10 stitches.
Yes.
So immediately.
Did everybody hear that? A dog bit a child in the face, and it's still alive.
There's a point there.
Thank you.
So the point is, I called you immediately because, number 1, I didn't know procedure.
Right.
Number 2, I was afraid that they were going to take my dog.
Right.
Number 3, I was afraid we were going to have to lie, so they didn't take my dog.
And who wants to do that?
And who wants to do that? Because I'm not. You can ask Kate. I'm not very good at lying, and I get caught. I get caught in everything. So so I ended up calling you immediately, and you got back to me, and you were like, "You need to do this, and this is what they're going to say, and this is what the blah 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 blah." So go ahead.
Right.
Tell your perspective. Tell your perspective of. In other words, what do people do if and when a dog bite occurs, and what are the situations where? And I know you're sighing right now. You're like, this is like a half hour off script.
I'm not a legal expert. I'm truthfully not. I really don't know if I know the laws properly to be able to communicate that.
But
so,
you've got you have more experience in this than most of our viewing audience.
Here's the thing, though. I don't want to say something that is not accurate and not the way it's supposed to be.
All right. How about I say true false statements and you agree with me or disagree?
We could do that. That might be fun.
All right.
Since we're talking about bites, dogs biting
we're talking
children
about dog bites.
in the face. They're still alive. He's outside.
He's actually running around right now.
That's right.
We keep him with the kids. So the point is, true or false, do you have to report a dog bite? If it's your dog.
There are several ways that you can handle it. As a former volunteer at Summit County Animal Control, this is what I was told.
Okay.
And I wasn't told by anybody who is in the legal department. But if you can quarantine your dog for 10 days in your home, don't tell anybody.
Okay. What? Quarantine? I don't know. What does that have to do with anything?
So when a dog...
You gotta understand, I'm ignorant here, okay?
What does quarantine mean? Do we need to look it up on Google?
No, I know what that means.
Okay.
Do you put the dog in a room and leave him alone by himself?
You just keep your dog at home. I don't really know. I don't know the procedures. When a dog bit somebody in that facility, they were sent to isolation. They were sent to isolation, and they had to remain there for 10 days. Their fate hung in the balance for 10 days. In those situations, in a personal home bite, if your dog bites a member of your own family, it's your damn fault, and you handled it very well.
Now I'm to blame. Really?
You handled it. Dog bites are always preventable.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
I don't like this. The true false thing didn't work.
All right, so what about this scenario? What about this scenario? This happened this week.
All right.
And it involved two neighbors, and one of them contacted me.
Oh God.
To ask my opinion of both the dog and the neighbors. Okay.
Okay.
So neighbors walking down the street, little territorial. You know, the tiny ones always seem to be the worst biters. I think they're all Napoleon.
I worked at Pet Supplies Plus for 6 years, and the only dogs that ever bit me were beagles and Jack Russell Terriers.
That's my point. The tiny ones, and they're all teeth too, right? Because it's all Napoleonic. The point is, neighbors walking down the street, little dog comes out and bites neighbor on the leg. Okay.
Okay.
So then it's like, how should we handle that one?
Was blood drawn?
A little bit.
A little bit. I don't like these questions. So this
is the real life we live in, right?
I understand. I'm just not well versed in this. This wasn't in my notes.
She didn't prepare.
I wasn't prepared. So that person that got bit, they could be total jerks. They could go to the hospital. They could report you. They could call the dog warden.
Okay.
I don't really know what can happen after that. It can become a legal issue. You know, I know a lot more about if a dog bites another dog or if a dog kills another dog. I kind of know how that goes.
Tell us how that goes.
So if a dog,
hey, this is all. Hey, this is
I
all
don't
about,
like this.
This is all about information, right? We're learning here. What? Yeah.
Maybe if a dog is biting your leg, what do you do? What's the proper response?
What's the response?
Would you like me to tell a story?
Please.
Yeah,
Okay. So, I'm not an expert. Again, I'm not a dog trainer. I just have a lot of experience with this. As a volunteer at Summit County Animal Control, one of the things that I did, a former volunteer, I will not volunteer there anymore. As a former volunteer, I was walking about a 95-pound Mastiff Pit Bull. It was labeled a Pit Bull. He was unneutered. So that makes a big difference, folks. He had peaked his sexual maturity. He was between 2 and 5 years old. I was walking him down the street. I was the opposite direction of the food bank, and he started to hump me. And what started out as a playful, listen, this is serious.
I am being serious. Go ahead.
It started out as playful behavior. Had I not had the experience that I had, that dog would have hurt me very seriously. So he started humping me to the point where I couldn't get him off me. And then he started to rear back, and he was going to bite me. He was going to bite my leg. I grabbed him by his harness, and I held him as close as I could to me, and I forced him into a down to calm him. I kind of did a Cesar Millan tackle. So if you've ever watched Caesar 911, I'm not advocating. I'm not telling you what to do. I would never, ever, ever tell anyone do that. If a dog is biting you, I don't know what to tell you, because in that situation, you're being hurt. You're going to flail around. You're going to thrash. Your instinct is going to be to protect yourself. You're going to kick the dog. You're going to try and get the dog off you. I don't know what the right answer is. What led up to that dog biting you?
No, I'm just saying you're walking down the
Yeah.
street and a dog passes you and just grabs your leg.
Well, a classic example.
Yeah.
I did
like a certain place you can grab the dog, or
I did a short stint with UPS, and all of them have dog bite stories. All of them.
Everybody has a dog bite story, and everybody has a story to tell about when they were little, that dog that terrorized you in the neighborhood. Everybody has that.
What we're trained to do, what drivers, FedEx, UPS, mailmen, what they're trained to do is they're trained to wedge the door with their foot. Because here's what happens. Most dogs are territorial, and most dogs are very, they're pack animals, and their people are their pack, correct?
Yes.
So they're very protective of their people. And
they don't have to be if they're trained properly.
Right, I understand that. But the majority are, and in a situation where you're the delivery person and you're a stranger,
Yes.
and that door opens, you've got a package that's being handed to another person, and underneath them is where the action is going down. And that's what happens, right?
Leave it on my doorstep.
So you're taught to wedge the door and say, hey, Ralph, I got a package for you. I'm going to leave it here. And then you walk away, and then they could get the package, and the dog's fine. Everybody's happy, okay? Yeah. All right, so let's get back to script.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about dog bites anymore.
All right, so let's get back to script. So where were we? We were talking about, tell us about this epidemic in Ohio.
Okay, So I've got a couple statements that I'd like to say. I've got a couple statistics that I think people need to hear, and I'm going to say the same one again. All right, are you ready? I've got it right here in front of me. Well, this one is new. The leading cause of death in healthy companion animals in our country is shelter killing. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Well, we add sounds here.
I don't like the sounds.
Okay.
So again, the leading the leading cause of death of healthy companion animals in the United States of America is shelter killing. When you hear the word shelter, you think that that's a safe place.
Correct.
Correct.
I'll
okay.
go with that.
Yes. 1.2 million dogs are killed in animal control facilities, pounds, and shelters every single year. 40% of those dogs killed are pit bull and pit bull type dogs. So almost half the dogs in our country. In our community and in our local animal control facilities are pit bulls, and they are being exterminated. I've got another one because everybody loves puppies, right? Everybody loves a puppy. Have you ever seen a pit bull puppy? They're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
I had some pictures of them up last week or 2 weeks ago, and then they all got adopted.
That's right, and that's wonderful. And those people that are enroll their puppies in training classes. All right. Only 1 out of every 600 pit bull puppies born in the United States of America will find a loving forever home.
What?
Only 1 out of every 600 pit bulls born in our country will find a forever loving home.
Oh, that's crazy.
Staggering. It's staggering. And when you say it out loud, people think I'm a maniac. They think I'm crazy. But this stuff is happening. This is happening right down the street. This is happening. One of a kind exists. The reason why one of a kind exists, you talked to Lisa Toth, right?
I talked to Janice and Liz.
So you talked to Janice.
Yep.
Okay. The reason why they exist and what their mission statement is to save the dogs who are in imminent danger of dying, specifically in Summit County Animal Control. Other pounds as well, other facilities around the state of Ohio. They exist because we kill animals in animal control facilities. Okay? The majority of the animals at Summit County Animal Control right now are pit bulls or pit bull type dogs, correct? Have you been in there? Has anybody walked into that place?
I haven't.
It's all pit bulls.
Where, front or back? I mean, how do we?
Okay, so you walk in the front door as you would at most places.
Right.
And when you walk in,
no, what I meant was, are they up front where you could see them for adoption, or are they all in like the back somewhere?
There are several locations. There are several locations that you can find a dog at Summit County Animal Control. One is called the Square Room, and that is you go in, you walk through the main hallway, you turn left, you go all the way down, and you turn right, and you enter a room where there are kennels. Okay, the Square Room is set up for brand new intakes, so strays and recent owner surrenders. But let me add, recent owner surrenders who make it past the back door. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. So, Square Room
If I say yes, will you believe me?
No. Okay,
They make
I'll
it past
explain
the
it.
back door, as in
So,
there's some that.
When you owner surrender your dog to a facility similar to, or if you take your dog to Summit County Animal Control, you sign a paper that says once that dog is turned over and you pay whatever the fee is, I don't remember, that dog goes into the back door, and if for whatever reason it growls, it lifts its lip up, or it acts in a way that that particular employee feels is not acceptable for the adoption floor, it is instantly put to death. It is killed. It is euthanized. It doesn't make it to Square Room or the adoption floor. So Square Room, you can go there. You can see dogs who are looking for their owners or dogs who have made it past the intake process. Do you have something to say?
I do.
Okay.
This is for show purposes. Okay. Is this all public knowledge?
This should be public knowledge. This should be something that our community is talking about, our Summit County community. As a tax-paying citizen, you want to know where your money is going. For example, I just drove from Springfield Township to where we are here. It was about a 25-minute drive, and I hit about every frickin' pothole on the road out there. Hi, Nova. I'm laying it down. As a tax-paying citizen, you want to know what is being done about the gaping holes in our road, correct? And you're going to talk to your community about filling those. Correct. Because you are a tax-paying citizen.
Correct.
As a tax-paying citizen, do you want to know what's going on in Summit County Animal Control?
Yes and
do you want to be educated?
Hold on.
Do you want to be educated? Because I can lay it down for you.
I do, but I just want to make sure we're not getting in trouble right now. Okay, that's what I'm.
No. This. We are not going to get in trouble because this is what an animal control facility is.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Okay. Well, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on before we go there.
All right.
So, let's show them your shirt. We talked about.
Okay.
Show them.
Okay. This is. Can everybody? I don't know which. Okay. It says, I speak for those who have no voice. I speak for those who have no voice. So as with every progressive movement, somebody has to be that voice, and I got a loud one, and I'm going to use it.
Okay. And we're giving you the platform to do so. So my point is, though, I just want to make sure, just to cover our bases from a disclaimer standpoint, that this is public knowledge. We're not like going behind the scenes where we shouldn't be.
No. This is not like insider knowledge that I'm like feeding to the community. You know, this is something that these practices are done in all communities. Take, for example, City Dogs Cleveland. That's a pound or an animal control environment as well. They let their community, their tax-paying citizens know X amount of dogs came through our door in this month of 2018. Out of all of those dogs who came through our door, this number was euthanized, this number was adopted, and this number was owner surrendered or owner redeemed. Okay? So they tell you who came in the doors and the outcome of those intakes. So that produces what's called a kill rate or a euthanasia rate.
Okay.
There is no published euthanasia rate for Summit County Animal Control. So there is no way to tell, as a tax-paying citizen, the money that is going to that facility, which, by the way, is like a multi-million-dollar facility. If you've had the opportunity to go in there, it is a very, very beautiful pound when you walk in, and I think that that's one thing that is very misleading because it doesn't look like a pound. When you think of a pound, you think of death and suffering and poop everywhere, and sometimes that happens there because dogs poop, but it's a beautiful facility. However, it's still a pound. So we don't have that information. So as a community and as a tax-paying citizen, I'm going to keep saying that we don't know if that part of our community is succeeding. We have nothing to market against. We don't know how we can make it better. We don't know how to progress to a no-kill system. We don't know because we don't have the information. It's not being published. But it is known when you go to sign over your dog, you sign paperwork that says that dog can be euthanized.
Okay.
Or cat or whatever you're
and
taking
that's what
there.
Erica just asked. She said, so there are dogs that are picked up by animal control that don't pass the backdoor test? The ones on the street, because they have to have that 72-hour.
Yes. So typically, here's what happens. Now, this may be insider knowledge. However, I'm going to put it out there because this exists. So let me circle back. But this isn't bad. But this isn't bad.
We'll do it live.
That's right. Let me circle back.
Hold on.
There.
Hold on. You're just next week. You're interviewing. Okay.
This is important.
No, I know.
We got a lot to talk about.
Next week's about beer. Okay. So
we got to lighten the subject.
Roddy will do the interviewing, and then I can sit back with the beer guys.
You can take a couple weeks off after this.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, we may be edited out, so
that's okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So circling back, there are several rooms that you can check for your dog if you're missing your dog in the community, right? We have square room, which is where new strays and owner surrenders end up if they get through the back door, right? If a stray comes in and it is behaviorally challenged, medically challenged, or if it is deemed inappropriate for that floor, it goes into isolation. And isolation is behind closed doors. As a member of the public, if you are missing your dog, there are 3 rooms at Summit County Animal Control that you need to check for your animal. Square room, the adoption floor, which is, so square room's to your left, the adoption floor is to your right, and isolation is behind locked doors, and it is staff-only area.
Well, how does the microchip work? Is it automatic? Is it an automatic thing?
They should, yeah. So having your dog microchipped will allow whoever picks that dog up, they should have the microchip scanner either at the pound or in their car, and they can alert you to let you know they've picked up your dog. And then you can come get your dog back. There's other procedures that I can't speak on because I'm not familiar with, like the fees and the processes to get your animal back.
Okay.
So I wrote a note down. So microchipping, if your animal is not microchipped, go to Pet Supplies Plus or any other pet store or one-of-a-kind clinic and get your dog a $20 microchip. Put your name, address, and phone number on that. So if your dog ever gets away from you, like Hank, who likes to run the neighborhood, he can be returned. He or she can be returned. Also, make sure the microchip information is up to date. So you can have that taken care of by going to your vet's office, having them scan the chip, providing you the company information and the microchip number. You should just be able to log right in on whatever website and make sure that information is up to date. So it's easier to get your dog back if you have it microchipped.
Heather said make sure you register it.
Yes, and some microchips require you to register it year after year. So make sure that your email address is up to date because they send you reminders. I just made sure that all my information was up to date for Gabriel's microchip.
So do we have to contact one of a kind?
It only costs $20.
$20. So it's in the realm of $20 to $25 to have that microchip into your dog.
No, you don't do it yourself.
No, you don't do it yourself.
Roddy's like, yeah, Roddy. Roddy, just
here. I'm just gonna microchip. I'm just gonna implant this little chip into your body. Hold on, bro.
Hold here.
Hold still. It's coming in. Come on.
All right.
Okay. So to answer the question, Erica, there are dogs that are picked up by animal control that do not make it to a public floor. They spend their 72 hours in isolation, and if a rescue is not made aware that that animal is waiting for its life to be saved, that dog is killed.
I got nothing. I mean, I have nothing intelligent to say about that, so moving on.
Because in our society now, we should be able to move past this. End of story. Okay, we should be able to move past needless killing, is what I mean. Okay,
I'm kind of working on a different platform on that right now, actually, somewhere in some other topic. But hey, we'll get to that one in 2 weeks.
Listen,
we'll get to that one in 2 weeks.
Kids, dogs. We love them the same.
That's right. That's why we call them.
Sometimes I like dogs better.
That's why we call them fur babies.
Okay.
We call them fur babies.
Okay. So we've discussed that. So the epidemic that is in our community, and the epidemic that I'm very passionate about, is the abused, neglected, and homeless pit bulls in our community. They're everywhere. They are a very popular dog. But I want to share a quote from an article from the Huffington Post that I read a very, very, very long time ago that has touched me, and it's something that I refer back to all the time. Pit bulls are subjected to an almost unimaginably cruel world in which they are subjected to every kind of violence, and then at the end of it are euthanized in shelters at shockingly high rates because families are afraid to bring them home, landlords won't rent them to families that do bring them home, and localities impose restrictions on their ownership despite ample evidence that these restrictions do nothing to improve public safety. Is everybody aware here that Akron has breed-specific legislation against pit bulls?
Well, we
We're not gonna get into it because I could talk all day on this. But it is. It's true. It happens.
We had a full-bred pit bull that lived next door for a number of years.
Yes.
They had to have the bright green, lime green sign.
Yes, they had to have this. You got it.
And then what happened was the couple got divorced, and then the new suitor came around, and the dog didn't like him and ended up biting him in the face, and they ended up giving up the pit bull.
Yes.
So that's a pretty common story, right?
Yes.
All right, so you got about 5 minutes left. All right, so let's focus on how the process.
How can we help?
How can we help? The process of adopting, right?
Okay, so how can you help this epidemic? How can you help homeless animals in need? So helping this epidemic boils down to several things. You need to educate yourself on the type of animal that you are bringing into your home. You need to take full responsibility for that animal that you are bringing into your home. And you need to do the following things with that animal. You need to spay or neuter that animal. If it does not come spayed or neutered, if you pick up that dog on Craigslist, you need to get it spayed or neutered, because unwanted litters, the average adult female pit bull can produce 10 to 12 puppies every single litter. Unwanted litters.
Are you kidding?
No.
10 to 12.
10 to 12. We had a 9-month-old pit bull who was pregnant in my rescue. She had 9 puppies. She was 9 months old. She was a baby. Jeez. So spay and neuter. Microchip your animal. I don't need to go into further detail on that. Provide training. If you cannot afford to teach your dog how to not be an idiot, do not get one. Okay? And make sure you understand that that is a lifetime commitment. Dogs live 10 to 15 years. My Jack Russell Terrier was almost 17 years old when we had to put him down. My Bull Terrier is 11 years old. Okay? So make sure you are setting up whatever animal that you bring into your home for success. Do not set them up for failure. If you have questions, ask them. Go to One of a Kind Pets. Read stuff on the internet. Do all of that. Those are some things that can help this epidemic, right? So I'm trying to think of, the adoptions, yes. Right? You want to know how people can get hooked up with adoptions. There are, we had done a list, but it was very unofficial as Facebooky, right? Yeah. What would someone Google? Everybody loves the internet, and they love Tinder, and they like swiping right and left on people. So, right? Isn't that a thing? I don't know. I've been married for a really long time. I didn't. I looked at it once, and to understand how it works, right? No. A friend that was on it. Oh, I was like, "What are you doing?" Right. This was when it first came out. Right. And I'm like, "What is that?" And they're like, "Well, if you like them, you go that way. If you don't like them, you go that way." That's right. So you can do that. Oh, okay. There are websites that exist. Petfinder.com. If you type into Google and you say looking for dogs to adopt, there are going to be platforms out there that you can specifically look for dogs that you are interested in. But heed my advice. Do not look for a dog because it's cute. Do not pick a dog out because it's the way that you want your dog to look. We are so ingrained. It is so ingrained in us as a society that we're going to go to the store, we're going to buy this couch because it matches our walls. Don't do that with dogs and cats and other animals. Make sure you know what you're looking for. So once you know what you're looking for, you can go to petfinder.com. There's like a whole search list. You can narrow things down. You can filter it by whatever you're looking for, and a whole list of animals and all different rescues all over this area and all over the United States will come up. You're awesome. Yes. Yes. So you're awesome. You're awesome. Other ways that you can help, and I'm just going to do this. This is a meme on Facebook. I'm sure you've seen it. Adopt an animal. If you cannot adopt an animal, foster an animal. If you cannot foster an animal, then volunteer your time with a local rescue. Make sure that rescue is reputable before you spend your personal time that you work so hard for. Make sure that you are putting your values with those rescues. Align your values. If you cannot volunteer, donate money, because it takes a lot of money. I almost said the S word. It takes a lot of money to save lives, and we are doing it as a tiny nonprofit. Who's
Ashley just joined. They live 2 streets over.
Hi, Ashley. Say hello to Griff.
I'm DJing her wedding because of you guys.
Is there like a referral bonus?
We'll talk about that after the show. Yes, it's giving you an hour to talk about all this stuff. How about that?
Okay, sorry. So let me say that again. Donate money. If you find a rescue that you like, if you find an animal in that rescue you like, sponsor that animal. We need money. Money is needed to save lives. There is no way to save a life if you don't have the funds to do it. A lot of times I'm taking my own hard-earned income and I'm spending it on my dogs, and I'm spending it on the dogs that are in need, and I'm donating my money to rescues that I really care about. So please do that.
Folks in the audience, folks out in Akron, everyone watching, give a big round of applause for Ashley, everybody.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me.
Get Roddy back on here. Thank you so much. We'll talk in a minute, okay?
Okay,
and
bye.
we're gonna you'll bring Gabe in, and we'll get pictures of him up and some video, but that'll be a separate thing, not on this right now. So
yeah.
All right,
Thanks,
come on
guys.
back, Roddy.
Goodbye.
I'm coughing. Good job, Ash.
I'm stuck.
You're stuck. Just scoot back. There you go. Just scoot back.
It's all right.
Come on in here, Roddy.
Let me get all my notes.
I don't even think we did half of them. Come on in here, Roddy. Dude, I need a cigarette. I'm exhausted.
No.
That was like I don't ride motorcycles, but I would imagine I don't even smoke. I would imagine that's like my first time ever getting on like a Harley and just going woo,
Right.
and there we go. Because obviously, folks, Ashley's very passionate about what she does. We wanted to give her that platform tonight. Did you get all that?
You get nothing. You lose.
Next,
I guess I'm not allowed to talk.
Listen. Next week, we're doing beer and coffee.
Beer and coffee.
Name of that show is Hop and Bean.
Hop and Bean. Okay.
It's all you. I'll do all the introductions.
Or Brew and Brew.
I'll do. My point is, you're interviewing.
All right.
We got a special guest coming in, I believe. I think there may even be a couple sponsors that are bringing in beer.
Okay.
I don't know how that's going to work out. You got to check the legality. I think it's just okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then there'll be some sponsors, and the point is, we'll have someone, a guest, another live guest, and I'm going to need a break after that. So you get to interview whoever our guest is.
All right.
So once again, folks, let's go ahead and say a disclaimer. How do we say this? We talked about a lot of stuff tonight. Some of it may or may not be considered controversial. Some of it may or may not be considered truth, and some of it may or may not be considered opinion. But Ashley is very passionate about what she does. We wanted to give her that platform, and we wanted to give her an opportunity to share that with you. So that's what we've done tonight. So at the end of the day, you now should have a much better idea of how to go about adopting an animal here in Northeast Ohio. We were very dog heavy tonight, but it's the same kind of situation for cats as well. You know, when I was at One of a Kind Pets, there were probably 30 or 40, maybe even up to 50 cats because they got the round thing that goes up to the sky. There was cats all over the place. Multiply the dog number by about 4 or 5.
Wow.
We probably exterminate anywhere between 5 to 6 million cats a year that are unwanted.
That's sad.
So, again, it's a problem. We've tried to help identify it. So,
yeah,
I hope we did an okay job.
I think we did. I learned a lot.
All right. What?
Brews next week.
Brews, beers, and coffee. So, once again, folks, we've had a lot of fun spending some time with you here tonight. We hope our discussion was both insightful and helpful. If you're interested in adopting a pet, please contact us, and we will help. Wait. Contact us. We'll get you in touch with
who you need to
We'll
talk
help
to.
you get set up with the proper type of facility. But like we said, tune in next week while we take a look at specialty beers and microbrews.
Hop and Bean.
At different coffee locations in and around the 330. Until then, I don't know where I'm going, but there ain't no sense in being late. Say goodnight, Shirley.
Good night, Shirley. I mean it this time. Good night, Shirley.
This podcast is a copyright of Moon Garden Media Limited.
Oh, this a lot of peanut butter.